Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the guided podcast. Catherine Ann, our resident intuitive astrologer, is here to discuss the energies of the upcoming new moon in Taurus on April 27th. So, Catherine, what you got for us this week?
So, in a normal, typical world, the Taurus moon is just lovely. It's exalted in Taurus. That is the best place for the moon to be. And we feel like we just want to be cozy and have our favorite foods and our cozy blankets. And it's all about appeasing the senses. And for new moons, we know that this is a seed planting time. It's a growth. It's a what do I want to bring into fruition? We're going to start with those little nuggets. And so for Taurus, that's all around something really tangible that makes you feel solid and safe and decadent, even, right? So when we're in a moon in Taurus, we have the moon in Taurus every month at some point. But when we're in the moon in Taurus, that's where you celebrate the tangible. You don't mind having that extra baguette. Doesn't matter if it's gonna, end up on your hips. Not to worry. We are enjoying the senses. Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is all about that love and harmony and beauty. So, what are we loving in our 3D world, our five senses? And yet, nothing about this year is just your average, kind of like clean scenario, right? So, this is at the end of April. That means we have already come through a Mars in Cancer that retrograded and went back again. It is now out of Cancer as of just about a week and a half before this new moon. This is a really big deal, right? So we've navigated that whole Mars and Cancer thing. We've also already experienced eclipse season. We are fully out of eclipse season with this new moon in Taurus, which means that this now is a new moon that we plant seeds on. We don't manifest during eclipse season. That is not a manifestation time. That is a buckle your seatbelt, hold on to the changes. Things are going to be happening, but that's not a time where we will really want to plant a seed in what is kind of, well, it's eclipsed energy. Like the word eclipse is to occlude the light, right? And we need the light to grow. So we don't manifest in eclipse season. We've made it all the way out of eclipse season. Now we're in a new moon that is ready for us to start envisioning and actually taking a tangible step towards this new planting of a seed. But yet, that's not all. What else have we experienced during this time? We've dealt with a Venus retrograde, a Mercury retrograde, and like the big, huge firework fanfare, Neptune has moved into Aries. This is a really big deal. The last time Neptune was in Aries was in 1861. Neptune moved into Aries the day after the American Civil War began. That is how long. To give you some context, because 1861 sounds a long time ago, but that even like get that imagery, right? A long time ago. So none of us were around for this energy. It is one of the key signatures why people are saying 2025 is all about shift and transformation. This is a really big deal. Now, it will retrograde for a little period back into Pisces before it comes back into Aries for good and true for about 14 years. So it is a slow moving, it's an outer moving transit. Nothing is going to happen overnight. But that initial entry into Neptune into Aries matters. And it's happening right around the equinox, which is the astrological new year. It's the beginning of spring. It's the beginning of a whole new cycle. And we're entering this with a whole new Neptune. It's a big deal. So, recap, we've done Mars retrograde in Cancer, Venus went retrograde, Mercury went retrograde, and we had 2 eclipses. And now we're here going, "Ooh, that was a lot." And, well, do we really know what that all means in the long-term bigger picture? At this point, it all still feels very recent for us to say we understand the impact of all of that going on. But what I think all of us can know to be true is change is real and apparent and loud. So let me just add a little bit more astrological energy on this particular new moon. We have Saturn and Venus conjunct sitting, holding hands side by side. And what that says is, so Venus is the planet of love and harmony and relationships and creativity, and Saturn is the grouchy old man that puts limits on it. So there's some tension in relationships. There might be a cooling off feeling, something you were really excited about, someone you were really excited about cooling off, especially if you started a relationship during the Venus retrograde. When we're hitting Saturn and Venus together, you might be going, anymore. Really common, right? Definitely, just as a little side note, when Venus is retrograde, you are not meeting someone and getting married in a week or 2. You don't know anything about them. And when it is over, you're gonna be like, "Whoa, what was I thinking?" So, Saturn and Venus, it's kind of like, I wanna be a little bit more responsible. That was fun, but or it was great to be in dream world. Venus in Pisces is exalted. She's super, like, having a blast, and then Saturn is saying, "Yeah, get real, girl. This is not Nope, we're not doing this. You have responsibilities." It even has this energy of just disappointment. And if you think about all those things that I just said that we went through, all those energies, you can imagine you might be disappointed about how something turned out. You might feel that that was the final straw in a relationship. You might feel like, wow, I got to witness how someone handled something and I'm not resonating with that. So I'm going to step back. Kind of all of these big energies. And now we have Saturn and Venus saying, let's get real. So that's it. Not the most fun energy. It can put strain on your friendships. It's not so happy. And what it's not, I don't want to say that like that. It's not that it's not so happy. It's just there's a heaviness to it. There's like a reality check, right? Saturn's a reality checks. So, and if that were all, then we have our third and final pass of the Mars opposite Pluto. This is a very aggressive, intense, ruthless energy. So we experienced this initially back in November. They were in Cancer and Capricorn, so the energy was a little different, but we initially felt it in November. It came back again in early January, this time in Leo, fire sign. So we have Mars in a fire sign, the planet of war and aggression, and it is a fire sign. So it's fire, right? Opposing Pluto in Aquarius, the planet or the sign of community. And Pluto is destruction, the underworld, deep transformation through cathartic release. And what happened in early January? The fires in LA. There's just no way around that energy mimics what was going on. They say that astrology is a mirror, right? So above, so below. This is what was happening at that time. So round 2 of Mars opposing Pluto. Now, I'm not making a prediction for the same type of devastation and destruction. I have no idea how this is going to manifest, but Mars is solidly moving forward. The last time in January, it was actually retrograde. So even though it was in Leo, it was actually more subdued. So now Mars again in Leo, but solidly moving forward. It's picked up its pace. That feels really feisty. And I feel like it's not exact. It was actually exact just before this new moon, like the day before is when it was exact. So that would be like the height of this energy. But, there's some lead up there. So like the week before, the week after this energy is relevant. And if you put everything else together that we've been talking about, it feels like unrest to me. Not surprising, I would say, based on current climate. And that's obviously, we come from a lens of being in the United States, but what happens in the United States impacts the globe, and what happens in the globe impacts the United States. We are a global society. And so I don't know how this is going to manifest, but there's something about that Saturn and Venus that keeps ringing in my head the word disappointment. It's like I keep feeling this disappointment of how things went down, how things were handled.
It feels like it like falls short. Things fall short, right? Of like expectation. Things fall short of expectation. That's what it feels like. It's like it didn't hit its mark.
Yeah. And with that things falling short, those people that get particularly instigated by this Mars opposite Pluto energy might have something very loud and aggressive to say about it. The other thing about this is that, so this new moon, let's get back to this new moon in Taurus. Leo and Aquarius are fixed signs. Taurus is a fixed sign. So even though by degree, this isn't an exact T-square where they're in that really, really tight tension, they were just a day or two before. And what do we know about fixed energy? So let's imagine Taurus, the bull, and put that phrase, the bull, fixed, stubborn. Stubborn energy is going to be loud. And I think what it is that it's that digging in the heels because you're disappointed about something. So I'm not doing this, right? That's what this feels like to me. And it's interesting because that Taurus moon is not aggressive in any way. It is this luxurious, like, I just want to be safe and stable. But with this contrasting energy all around, it's almost like, are you going to aggressively demand that you get to have your safe, stable experience? Kind of like at all costs. That's this weird dynamic here where there is this lovely Taurus moon, but amidst all this other stuff, it can actually be pretty rigid and stubborn. So that's kind of laying the foundation of this energy. It's, we are in a world of change. And you can dig in your heels and say, no, I don't accept that. And you just get bulldozed over because change is happening. On the other side of that, don't try to move immovable objects because that is an act of futility and it's not an act of safety and stability. So that doesn't mean don't use your voice if you need to speak up, but it may speak to we're going to have to find a different approach. We're going to have to do things differently because just putting your stake in the ground and being immovable is probably not going to serve you or your mission, whatever fight it is that you're trying to stand for. There's going to have to be another way around. So when we look at this energy for the signs, there is a spot in everyone's chart where Taurus lives. So I'm going to walk through the signs talking about what part of your chart, when we're looking at this whole sign, is the Taurus house. And this is the house where you are going to do a tangible step in this area, in this topic, that helps move you in a positive direction. But before I get into all of that, I really want to speak to the tarot card energy for this moon. So we are it's the moon is at 7 degrees of Taurus. That's the first decan. And so the tarot card that's associated with that is this Five of Pentacles. If you know the tarot, you know the Five of Pentacles is never a card you want showing up, especially if you're asking about finances or manifestation or abundance or getting what you want. You don't want to see the Five of Pentacles because the Five of Pentacles speaks to hardship, speaks to isolation, it speaks to suffering. But the thing that always stands out to me, so this image, if you're not watching it on YouTube, you're listening to it on a podcast platform, the image is a woman and it looks like her maybe adolescent son on crutches, injured. They're walking through the snow. They're in rags. They're destitute. They are outside of a church window with a beautiful stained glass Five Pentacles where the light is shining through the church. And they're not even looking at it. And I always talk about this card when I'm talking with clients about, are you so wrapped up in your isolation and suffering that you can't see the light, that you can't see that help, that for this card in particular, warmth, food, safety is literally at your feet? If you just look up, you will see this beautiful warm church where you can take refuge, get out of the cold, sit down because you're injured, you need to rest, probably be given food and clothes and a place to stay. So when this card comes up, I feel like what Spirit really wanted me to make this correlation with is with all of this intense energy that I've spoken to over the last couple months. Are you so wrapped up in your experience that you can't see the help that's being offered? Whether that's actual help, somebody reaching their hand out, giving a generous donation, offering food, clothes, or shelter, or that's that spiritual help, your guides, your angels saying, we've got you if you just ask. And I can't remember where I heard this, but I was listening to someone recently talk about our teams are always there. Like we literally could never be disconnected. But there is the difference between those of us who actively engage and those who do nothing. And those who just this is not a part of their daily experience to connect with spirit. This person was talking about how I call those the lazy boy angels. They're here, they're ready, but you never call on me. So I'm in my lazy boy, reading the paper, drinking my drink, watching the game. The minute you ask for help, I will be there. But until then, I'm going to be comfortable. I'm just waiting, never leaving your side, but also not participating as actively as we could. And that's what this card feels like to me, right? Like, ask for help. Help is all around. And, in this particular time of natural disasters, layoffs, change in economic circumstances, change in health circumstances for some people, abundantly all around us are opportunities to give and be the helper. And abundantly all around us are opportunities to be the receiver and ask for help and accept help.
And just to layer onto that, the other thing that just dropped in was Spirit saying this line, lessons are repeated for those who refuse them. And even that is a form of help. And I think it's really important for people to understand that if you feel like you're in a position of, why is this happening to me again? It's because you're going round and round with a lesson that you're not wanting to face. And so even that is a form of spiritual help, because spirit is trying to call your attention to a pattern that is no longer serving you. And you're going to keep circling that drain until you're ready to make what is unseen seen. And that is a form of spiritual help.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that leads perfectly into the theme that Spirit gave me for this moon, which is tangible steps are necessary to overcome the suffering. So if you want to stay in that energy of, why me? Why is this happening to me again? That wasn't fair. I can't believe it. The odds are never in my favor. If you want to stay in that energy, you can stay in that energy. Your team of angels will sit in their lazy boy and wait for you to ask for help and let you have the experience that you are choosing. And if that's not the experience you prefer to have, tangible steps are necessary to move out of that place and into the new. And in no way does this negate the heaviness of all of that, the emotions tied to all of that. And help is always there, and you are always able to take a step, even if that step is just saying, I surrender. Do with me what you will, Spirit. Show me the next step. I will follow. Even just surrendering is a tangible step. So I'm going to go through the houses to speak to where Taurus shows up in your chart as just somewhere to point you to of an area you could take a tangible step. It is not the only place you could do that, but it's just a little bit of guidance to point the way, especially if you find yourself in a place where I don't even know where to start. This is the area that you can look at and go, okay, how do I start? So again, what tangible steps can you take to move into a positive direction? So we're going to start with Aries. Aries, the Taurus house is your second house of money, possessions, income, assets, value. It's also what you put in your mouth. So a tangible step is to look at your finances. What is happening with your cash flow? Is that I need to take a hard look at my budget? What am I spending day in and day out? Where we spend our money tells us what we value. And so if you find you're spending a lot of money on the local coffee shop and you're realizing, apparently I value ease, I value convenience, I value a good cup of coffee. If that resonates, that holds true for you, great. You've done some good evaluation. But if not, take a tangible step around your budget. Or because it's what you put in your mouth, maybe take a tangible step around the food you choose to consume or consumption in all areas, the media we consume, just everything, right? What are we putting in our bodies? What are we consuming? Are we being consumers and shopping too much? This is that tangible step. Think about those areas. Taurus, this is going to show up in the first house, the house of you. So your body, your appearance, how you show up in the world, your first impressions that you put out there. It's kind of like that mask that you present out, your character. So what is a tangible step that has to do with you, me, myself, and I? So do I need to look at my health in the sense of maybe I need to take care of a message my body is telling me. Maybe my knee hurts and it's like, "Hey, I've been trying to tell you, take a tangible step, pay attention to that." Maybe it's, "Hey, I'm not really showing up as me, and I'm gonna take a tangible step to be seen more authentically in the world." So Taurus, it's all about you taking steps to be you. Gemini, this is showing up in your 12th house, which is your house of the subconscious. It's the house where you go into retreat to escape. It's the hidden. It's also the unseen enemies and institutions, which I think this is really interesting because there's something about taking a tangible step in the dark. It's I'm going to wrangle myself, my subconscious, not gonna allow that peanut gallery to beat me up anymore. That would be a subconscious tangible step. It also could be a tangible step to decide to bring something to light. So the new moon, it's dark, right? It hasn't emerged. But if you're going to plant a seed there, maybe you're planting a seed to say, I'm ready to see what I need to see. And then knowing that that will be brought out. Cancer, this is showing up in your 11th house of hopes and wishes, the community, your friendships. And so I think that tangible step has to do with one of two things. I'm going to take a step towards what I want to wish to bring into the world. And have you allowed yourself to even wish for something? Because the energy's been heavy lately. Are you allowing yourself your hopes and wishes? If it's as simple as that, allow yourself to dream. On a very active thing, is it, I haven't seen my friends in a long time. I'm going to get together with my friends. I'm going to reconnect with community because that helps me feel safe and stable, knowing that I have my people, I have my network. Because all of this is around, I just want to feel safe, stable, and rooted. So, Leo, we are looking at your 10th house of career, fame, reputation, your legacy. Very clearly, you are taking a tangible step out in your public persona. So does that mean you are doing something to enhance your career? They just said, are you redoing your resume because you want a better job? Or are you, if you're retired, are you looking at your legacy in the world? And I'm going to take a tangible step so that when people remember me, this is how I'm remembered. Whether that's showing up as a volunteer or some other form of legacy, that is a tangible step you can take. Virgo, your Taurus house is your 9th house of travel, study, religion, faith. And so for Virgo, what you're really looking at is, do I want to start a new pursuit that expands my horizons? Whether it is I'm making the steps to go on some long distance travel, some foreign travel, I'm making the steps to apply for a master's program. I'm making the steps to figure out, what do I really believe? What is, with all of this shaking up this year, some of your belief systems, Virgo, are being illuminated to be revised. And we do have the South Node in Virgo. So also, this is a releasing and a letting go energy here. And so what's being let go of in your belief systems, higher values, and what are you planting the seed to now bring in the new perspective? Libra, we are looking at 8th house, death, debt, taxes, resources of others, inheritance, and the occult in your psyche. So for Libras, let's plant some seeds around finances. I think not quite in the same way as we were talking about with Aries in the 2nd house. We're talking about this in the sense of legacy wealth, long-term planning. I need to take some steps. I've never even paid attention to my retirement. I need to take a step to help me feel safe and secure that I'm not going to have to work till I'm 99. Those are the type of things that we're looking at, Libra. We might even be looking at resources from a spouse or alimony or child support and making sure that those are still solid. That with all of these rumblings and changes, have those scenarios also experienced change? And what do we need to do now to feel stable in this area? Scorpio, we're looking at the seventh house of relationships, marriage, partnership, one-on-one business relationships, even your clients, if you see clients one-on-one. And what do you need to do to feel stable in your relationship? Is it, because it's Taurus, we're not saying I need to have a talk. This is not like deep. This is physical. Maybe you need to set up some snuggle time. But in that deeply grounding, intimate way. This is not about like, ooh, we're just going to bring some fire in. This is, I need to do a tangible step to feel safe with my partner and that this is a place that I can root into. And if you don't have a partner, vision that. What do you want to create? The other thing that's really interesting about this, Spirit just reminded me, sometimes when you have something showing up in your seventh house, it's not happening to you, it's happening to that other person you're in relationship with. So you may see that they're feeling ungrounded and they need support in feeling grounded and safe. Sagittarius, we're talking about the sixth house of health, wellness, routines, illness. So your day in, day out, what are you doing to feel stable? And I really see this in two ways. Are your routines serving your health so that because, that is a basis of need. If you're physically well taken care of, everything else can happen. It's like that hierarchy of needs, right? So Sagittarius, you need to make sure that your base needs, like your health and well-being, are being addressed. And if they're not, plant that seed, take that step to bring that into alignment so that everything else can fall into place. Capricorn, we're looking at the fifth house of children, creativity, pleasure, romance. It's also the house of entrepreneurship. And for Capricorns, I feel like more than anything, this is about planting a creative spark. This is saying, I have something I want to build. I think about that Taurus energy, which is so steady. When you match creativity and that earthy Taurus energy, it's literally, what am I going to build? So I'm building a business. I'm building a tree house. I'm building something for my romantic aspirations, but it's actually creation. Maybe you paint, but it's creation. For Aquarius, we're looking at the fourth house of home and family, your ancestral lineage, that private undercurrent of kind of like that childhood foundations. So what do we need to do to feel safe? We're going to look at our family. We're going to look at our roots. Do we need to reestablish a relationship with somebody that maybe there was a distance? And to feel right in the world, you need to reconnect with that person. It literally could be building a home or the inception of building a home, the inception of remodeling, because this is new moon or planting the seed, but you're getting, those creative juices flowing to draw up the plans or contact the contractor. And it also, if you're going on the spiritual side, you're saying, yes, I am going to take this class for ancestral healing. And then we have Pisces, who is the third house, neighborhood, communication, short trips, siblings, is like a whole bunch of stuff. And with Pisces, what I want to say is, what steps do you need to take to feel safe and rooted in your local environment? What's really interesting to me about Pisces, it's coming through really loudly, is because so much energy has happened over the past few months in this Pisces Aries area with retrogrades and planets moving around. We also have the North Node in Pisces, so there's a real drive to do stuff. Pisces may have found themselves experiencing a lot of change. They may have moved. They may have had a career change. They may have had a change that brings them apart or closer to siblings. They may have a different commute. And it's made this unsteadiness. And so Pisces needs to find a way to feel safe in their local environment. All right. So that's where we're going to find that in all the signs. And just to reiterate, the theme is tangible steps are necessary to overcome the suffering. So the question is, what tangible steps can you take to move in a direction that helps you feel safe, rooted, and stable?
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this information. For those of you who would like to book personal readings with Catherine Ann, all of her information is always in the show notes. And for those of you who lost it. And so if you know someone who would, hold on, let me pause so it's easier to edit. So if you know someone who would benefit from the wisdom within this podcast, please do us the honor of sharing it far and wide, and we will look forward to seeing you all next month. Bye for now.